Hey, what's up guys? It's Alex Espinoza with RickyBlog.com. Welcome to another Rickey Report. This episode brought to you by Last Dive Bar. Make sure to use the promo code RickyBlog in my affiliate link below. Shout out to the boys. And alright, let's jump into it. Got a lot of news. Haven't done one of these in a couple days. So the A's had lost 8 in a row before the Rockies came to town earlier this week. But earlier today, Thursday afternoon, the A's finally finished off a series win. It was their first series win in about 3 weeks. It was a super entertaining game on Thursday that both teams went back and forth. I mean, two of the worst teams in baseball right now, but made for some really entertaining games. And if you want to feel old, guess what? The A's called up Mike Cameron's son, Daz Cameron. He's 27 years old. So yeah, we were just watching Mike Cameron's son today. And Daz Cameron made his A's debut. It was his first time playing in the bigs in 2 years, since August of 2022. He had a really entertaining game. He came up his first 2 times he was up. He left 5 runners on. I mean, I think he came up with second and third. Runners on second and third his first AB, and he got out. And then he came up with the bases loaded. He got out. And then later in the game, he had a misplay out in left field where he definitely should have caught the ball and didn't see the ball. So he had a really kind of rough start to the game, but in the 9th inning he tied it up with a dinger, and it was so that was just the start. So then in the 10th inning, the Rockies actually put up a run against Mason Miller. Mason Miller gave up a run, but it was no worries because Zach Geloff, for the second straight day, he had a hit to send the game into extra innings, or to further into extra innings. Because on Wednesday, he also did the same thing. He sent the game to extras with an RBI single. And then it looked like it was all over in the top of the 11th, as Mason Miller was charged with 2 more runs. Just one of them was earned, though, because, that ghost runner. But technically, the runs were to Miller, but Brandon Belak was on the mound. And Belak gave up 2 more runs to make it 9-5 Rockies. So I thought the game was over, but the A's came back with 4 runs in the bottom of the 11th, including this 2-run shot from J.J. Bleday to tie it up. And then, just because this game was super weird, Tyler Soderstrom came up and walked on 4 pitches to give the A's the 10-9 victory. Scored 5 runs in the 11th. I can't remember seeing a game as weird as that one. So, hey, the A's got their first series win in about 3 weeks against the lowly Rockies, who are now 16-33, and they're the worst team in the National League. So yeah, like I said, amazingly, Mason Miller, he gave up 3 hits, and he was charged with 5 runs. 3 of them were earned in 1 2/3 inning of work. So that ended his 19 1/3 scoreless inning streak that he had, dating back till early April. I mean, he gave up 2 runs in his first outing, and then after that, he was pretty much untouchable. So, shout out to Mason Miller on that incredible run. That was really, really fun to watch, and had to end sometime. So, good to know that he's human. So, the A's are now 21-31, but they're 6.5 games back in the AL West. Nobody's really running away with it in the AL West, so it could be a lot worse. As bad as they've been doing, still within striking distance, and that would be a story, right? The A's somehow won the division in their final week. So we'll see if they're closer to the team who won 8 in a row, or won 6 in a row, or the team who lost 8 in a row. So had some more news as well about the Coliseum site. As Casey Pratt reported earlier this week, the city of Oakland has sold its half of the Coliseum site to a developer group called the African American Sports and Entertainment Group. And this was in the works for a while. They had an exclusive negotiating agreement for this, so we had to figure it was coming down the pipe. And supposedly comes at a great time for Oakland. It was on 105, so the deal is reportedly for at least $105 million. And according to the San Francisco Chronicle, the city of Oakland is facing a $177 million budget deficit this year. And without this deal, which will, it's reportedly they'll have access to $60 million more this fiscal year. But I guess they were, thinking about shutting down fire stations, doing police layoffs and staff layoffs. So hopefully this will ease, kind of give them a lifeline for the time being. So Casey Pratt shared some video from Oakland Mayor Sheng Tao and AASEG founding member Ray Bobbitt, who held a press conference earlier this week to discuss the sale. Both Tao and Bobbitt seem to not be afraid of the A's this time around at the negotiating table. I wonder how this $105 million price tag is going to affect AASEG's negotiations for the other half of the Coliseum, as the A's recently completed that purchase from the county. So yeah, a whole bunch of switching hands. So just to recap, the city has sold its half to AASEG, and last week the A's completed their purchase from the county, but now the A's are trying to sell it to AASEG as well. So AASEG is trying to get the entire Coliseum complex, and I wonder how this $105 million price tag is going to affect the next negotiation, because AASEG reportedly was offered $115 million in September for the A's half and were promptly rejected. So the A's are going to be fighting for every penny after buying this thing for $85 million a few years ago, and then not immediately, but pretty soon afterwards saying this place is unviable.
No, I think that this deal is a lot different than what we were working on with the Oakland A's, and so I do know that the Oakland A's are working in good faith, and I would just hope that that continues forward. Again, these are two very different projects, where we were talking about a stadium previously. Now we're talking about selling a piece of parcel so that we can make this site whole.
The goal is to make it one interest, either through a cooperation agreement or through purchasing the interests of the other side. I'm under an NDA with respect to our negotiations with the athletics, so I can't expand on that too much, but I can say that we are in healthy negotiations, and they've continued, and they are moving in a positive direction.
And AASEG, according to Bobbitt, has some really big plans in mind. So even though they struck out on the WNBA, they put in a bid, I believe, to try to lure WNBA back to Oakland at Oracle Arena, but instead, Joe Lacob's group with the Warriors, Golden State Warriors, and the Golden State Valkyries won that bidding battle. And of course, I don't think MLB or NBA or NFL is going to be coming back to Oakland anytime soon after seeing the Warriors, Raiders, and A's leaving. But it sounds like they have a good relationship with the Roots and the Soul, and they're definitely going to keep Oracle Arena open as an entertainment venue. So I think they just want to redevelop that. I would love to see them kind of repurpose the parking lot into some, housing or something, some retail, something to kind of revitalize that area. I think that would be really, really cool, and it sounds like that's what Ray Bobbitt wants to do.
If we can get another sports franchise that's a professional sports franchise, we'll be definitely, open to that. But with respect to the site plan and how it configures, it's going to really be about our community, and it'll be about, kind of what they want to do. At the same time, we have a cooperation agreement with Roots Soccer Club, which is great. We've been working together with them on making sure that they have a long-term solution for their stadium, which we have a great relationship with. We have a great relationship with the Ballers. We're actually working with Major League Cricket. So the other side of it is that, as you know, the arena, that once the Warriors left and they picked up 41 more dates, they've had the best 2 years that they've ever had. They've broken all the records for attendance and for revenue at the site. So
yeah, AASEG seems like a really good steward for East Oakland. Seems like they're really invested in the area and want to make it happen and have a bigger vision beyond sports. So, hopefully sports is part of that. I personally love sports, and of course the Roots and the Soul are going to be playing there, as we talked about earlier this week. The Roots and the Soul have reached an agreement. It's not final yet, but they've reached an agreement with the city of Oakland to play at least up to 34 home games between the two clubs next year at Oakland Coliseum, which I think is really cool. And then hopefully by 2026 they have that modular stadium up in the Malibu lot. So the Coliseum, the A's are leaving, but it's not dead yet. Still stuff going on. So speaking of not being dead yet, Oakland baseball is not dead. A couple nights ago, the teams went 2-0 as the Ballers won 7-6 in their first game ever against the Glacier Range Riders. And I was there at the athletic club in downtown Oakland while the Ballers won. They hosted a little watch party for a few hours. And probably, maybe 50 people showed up. It was pretty cool to see the first ever game. And yeah, it was a close one. It was super back and forth. The MVP was Austin Davis, who went 5 for 6, had a couple of RBIs right here that you'll see that tied up the game. And then at the end of the game, the Ballers were able to hold on 7-6. And yeah, it's just cool to be around the Oakland 68s again, see them cheering and just having no stress and just enjoying the game, So I absolutely love that Ballers chant. It kind of gives me a flashback to the Raiders game, you know, when that place was just completely packed during that first level concourse and everybody's just chanting Raiders, Raiders. Kind of like same thing with the Ballers, you know. I kind of love it. So, oh man, so Oakland sports are alive, and it makes me feel happy, even if it's on a smaller scale. You know, Raimondi Park's only 4,000 people, but it's still awesome to see that energy alive with the 68s. And the first dinger in club history belonged to Dondre Hubbard, who launched this one and also had this really sweet bat flip. Check out this bat flip. Ba-bow. Yeah. And yeah, so that was really cool. Check out the full video if you want to see more about just search for Oakland Ballers opening day watch party, and hopefully it pops up on YouTube. But yeah, I got it on my YouTube channel, so check it out. And then the next day on Wednesday night, the Ballers won 3-2 to stay undefeated, run their winning streak to 2. This was also an entertaining game, had some late inning drama. Thanks to the Twitter user Troutskis, A's fan, Ballers fan, Oakland baseball fan who shared that. And, you know, there was a error on the pitcher in the 9th inning, and he came around to score later in the inning. So, Ballers, 2-0 going into tonight's game. Believe their first pitch is in about a half hour in Glacier Ridge. And, of course, their home debuts on June 4th. Make sure to come out. I believe there's still a few tickets available for that at Raimondi Park in West Oakland. So, and back to the A's, they made some big roster moves on Thursday. Esteury Ruiz went on the injured list with a strained left wrist. Daz Cameron, of course, who we talked about, was selected from AAA Las Vegas, and Jordan Diaz was DFA'd to make room for Cameron. So, yeah, a lot to unpack here, honestly. Ruiz hurt himself back on May 4th on this diving sliding attempt, and he's been kind of hurting to get in the lineup since. He only had 13 at-bats in the 11 games since, so he's kind of been using sparingly, and he was noticeably on the bench against some southpaws too, so this was probably bothering him, and he was hitless in those at-bats. He hasn't got a hit since in the game since he hurt himself right there. So, and Cameron, who we talked about earlier, son of Mike Cameron, which is wild to me. He had a big debut, and I was kind of shocked to see Jordan Diaz get DFA'd. I mean, it's been a quick fall from grace from him. He's still only 23 years old, so he's a young dude. And of course, last year he had 3 dingers at Yankee Stadium, and I was really a believer. I mean, his bat, sometimes he looks like really incredible up there. He had 10 homers in 90 games last year, but you know, he was hitting just 204 in 29 games this season. So who knows, maybe he'll clear waivers and he'll stay in the A's organization and have a chance, but I wouldn't be surprised if somebody picks him up and takes a waiver on him because, you know, definitely showed a lot of power. I mean, it's tough to hit 3 home runs if you're anybody. So, yeah, I don't know if something changed for him or what, but Jordan Diaz has been DFA'd by the A's. So, and last but not least, just want to share this cool clip that was clipped out by Last Dive Bar. Shout out to the guys at Last Dive Bar. They're really all over all the A's news. They've really transcended being a sports brand. They're kind of like a media brand now. I don't even know what those guys are. They're like a whole different beast there now, you know? So I just want to share this cool clip from Last Dive Bar and MLB Network from Mariners pitcher Bryan Woo, who was born in Oakland. He went to Alameda High, so he's a Bay Area guy. And he was on MLB Network with Alana Rizzo recently, and he showed a lot of love for A's fans. I thought it was a cool clip.
West Coast kid, you get to stay on the West Coast in Seattle, grew up in Oakland. Any opinion about the Athletics moving away from Oakland? I know a lot of I would assume that the teams that you grew up watching in that area, a lot of them have left the area. What's your take about Oakland leaving?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely unfortunate. You know, growing up, going to so many A's games and a lot of fond memories there. It's tough. So many people that are, you know, enjoyed Oakland sports for so long, and obviously the A's are going to be the last one. But growing up, going to Warriors games, going to Raiders games, and then going to A's games, like it's definitely it's been a tough thing for everybody in the Bay Area to swallow. But I think there's definitely a huge misconception about like A's fans and not being supportive. I think you look back, you know, even a few years ago, you know, when they're putting a good product out and they're a fun team to watch, like everybody loves going to the games and there's always fans there. So there's definitely a lot of love for those teams still, and I think there always will be.
And yeah, one more thing is he was actually, so even though he's an East Bay dude, he actually grew up a Giants fan and he loved Brandon Crawford, but hey, we won't hate him for it. That was a cool clip from Bryan Woo. Yeah, that narrative's still out there. I think I saw the New York Daily News wrote an article about John Fisher, so yep, still getting out there on the national, that whole small market narrative is changing, and I think A's fans are getting a fair shake. And John Fisher is getting portrayed for what he should be, for being a negligent owner. So that is all still going on here, and I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon. So, all right, I'm Alex Espinoza. Thanks a lot for listening to this Rickey Report. Again, use the code RickeyBlog for 10% off at Last Dive Bar. Use my affiliate link below. And yeah, stay tuned for tomorrow. Actually, earlier today, we just interviewed Scott Braun of Foul Territory TV. Super stoked for that one. So yeah, that'll be up tomorrow morning, Friday morning. That'll carry us through the weekend. And eventually I will get the road trip on the road, Rickey on the road trip video from Baltimore up as well. So, all right, thanks a lot for listening. Have a great weekend, guys.